for many thousands of years. I mean, we could go back at least 5,000 years. There were ancient schools, spiritual texts have all confirmed this. It's a part of our history. That these ancient schools, we got the yogics from India, the Taoists from China, the Ayurvedics in India, I think. They all allude to certain truths about who we are, and their teachings, if applied today, are just as valid and useful and helpful as they were thousands of years ago. So that alone tells us that there's some truth to them, to the things that they used to teach about and talk about. The fact that they work now in today's modern world with all the technology, they can be these truths about who we are, how to be happy and healthy, how to go after our dreams, how to create the sort of life we want. They were as real thousands of years ago as they were today. Can you see how that must be some evidence for you that there's truth to them, because they're still applied today? Learning about manifestation. I mean, manifestation teachings go back way more than 5,000 years. How crazy is that? Understanding that emotions are meant to be expressed. Emotions are meant to move out of us. They're not meant to be contained within. And it's the containing those emotions that create disease. And all health for thousands of years was about preventing disease, right? That's what it was all about. In order to be healthy, you had to prevent disease. What these ancient texts and schools knew back then, compared to what we're learning today in school, is a vast difference. Imagine if schools today taught the importance of regulating your nervous system, providing safety within, how to create the life of your dreams, how emotional expression is helping with your overall health. Imagine if schools taught how not to poison yourself through bad food, how to come out of fight or flight and stress. All of these incredibly important things were never taught. They're not taught today, but they were thousands of years ago. So what does that say about the evolution of our species? What the fuck is going on? It's crazy. Now, after many thousands of years of all these ancient schools and texts, along came a few hundred years ago the Inquisition, the burning of the witches, I can't remember what else, but it's documented in history. The church killed and tortured anyone who practiced these more esoteric teachings that were truly timeless, that applied to everyone, and it created health. You were basically killed. Think of the fear that would have gone around the world around these certain practices, and instead they had to adopt practices that were approved of by the church, that took you further away from spirituality and more into our survival emotions, which is taking us further away from God. We know this because of all the fear, the guilt and the shame and the pride and the anger and the damnation that exists within so many religions. How crazy is that? So religion came in, killed everyone who practiced spiritual teachings, as many as they could, and tortured them, tried to adopt more religious practices than spiritual, which took people out of their spirituality, more into their animal survival-based emotions. And then out of that came the Industrial Revolution. And from that time, school was created in order to have us be obedient factory workers who did what we were told and wore the same clothes and just work 9 to 5. Don't question anything, just do what you're told. Right? So they're the modern day schools. We learn everything from those schools that don't teach us any of the stuff that we need to learn in order to actually be happy and healthy, and not to live with stress that creates disease and the stagnation of unexpressed emotions. What? Like, why? So not only are we not taught that, most people in society ignore all the wisdom from these timeless truths because they weren't taught it at school. And the idea of not being taught stuff at school, yet it being important to us, can't compute in their heads. Instead, they're like, well, if I didn't teach it at school, it can't be real. But when you look at the timeline of these thousands of years and the fact that the school we're in came out of the Industrial Revolution, which a few hundred years after what was going on with the church, like we're living as a result of those times. Fuck, that's nuts, huh? And what we learn in school today wouldn't be applied thousands of years ago. A lot of it. Because it's not truth about who we are. We're not learning about who we are. We get taught biology at school, but we don't get taught how to apply it. How can we use our biology in order to be happy, in order to have a healthy, free society? We need to be healthy and free within ourselves. But that's not what it's about. It's about being obedient and doing what you're told and fitting in. Why do you think it's so hard to step out of your comfort zone and go towards your goals? That's because you haven't been taught how to do that. You've been taught how to follow the rules, be a good little boy, do what you're told. And now, in order for you to start making your own rules in life, not allowing society to dictate what you can and can't say and what you can and can't do, as long as you're true to your heart, you can do what you want because you're not doing anything to hurt others. You don't have to worry about it. Sure, there's laws that you got to not break in order to not get in trouble, and a lot of these laws are good, healthy laws, right? We need them. But certainly with everything going on now with the woke movement, and we're kind of being fit into these little boxes. Men are being fit into boxes, and this is how you should be. You shouldn't say certain things, and you shouldn't act in a certain way, and it's just making us very nice, and it's furthering our people-pleasing tendencies in order to get safety from other people. Now, when we were younger, when we were little kids, when we were babies, we needed approval for safety. Approval from mum and dad in all creatures around the planet. Like, as soon as you're born, you got to go get to mum, find mum, and you got to have her be open to you and be accepting of you and loving towards you in order to feel safe. Now, we're adults, we're in adult bodies, but we still carry a lot of our emotions from the past because we live in societies that don't teach how to heal. So sometimes we lose sense of our own logic, and we start accessing the logic that we had as a young child because that part of us hasn't been healed yet, and now we need approval from outside of ourselves in order to feel complete and whole and safe within. And that fear of disapproval, of getting in trouble, of feeling bad, of feeling shame and guilt for doing something wrong is so deep within our unconscious that our unconscious mind doesn't want us to feel those heavy emotions. So it will ensure that the character you play in life, the version of you that you put out into the world to show everyone, even your friends and family, your girlfriends, your wives, whatever it is, will ensure that that character is done to maintain safety. So you won't speak up. If you see something that you don't agree with, you won't speak up about it. You'll keep your mouth shut because you've been learned that you should feel guilt and shame for speaking up. It's bollocks. If you want to create a life where you're truly embodying your authenticity, you've got no option but to find your authenticity and bring it out into the world and just be real with it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean it's not going to bring up pain. It probably will. It almost certainly will. You can't live a life of inauthenticity and then just suddenly be authentic. Well, you can. That is a possibility. But for most people, they have to face what's stopping them from being authentic. And that's these heavy emotions. Shame's a big one. Shame is huge for this. So as you start speaking your truth more, be it with your friends, your family, your communities, whatever it is, with women in relationships, when you realize you've just been packaging yourself in a way that maintains their approval and therefore safety, and now you want to start being more real, you're going to have to deal with what's in the way of your realness, and that could be shame. And when the shame comes up, sometimes it's so heavy it just makes us want to give up, retreat back to safety. And it's okay if it does that for you. It can do it for me at times, but it's in the recovering from that the true magic is. So yeah, you feel a bit defeated, you feel like the world's against you a little bit, or people close to you are against you, they're not supporting your growth. You can sometimes feel like you're not supporting your growth, and that can encourage you to give up a little. It's okay. It might even encourage you to go back to old habits and addictions, and that's okay too. But it's in the recovery of that. So yeah, okay, you fall into a spiral of shame. You see it. You see what's going on. You get back up. You keep moving forward. And that's the key, is getting back up. It's not in the falling down that's the problem. That's part of the journey. It's the fall down. But it's the getting up. For thousands of years, men went on a path of initiation from boy to manhood. And this often required them to go out into the jungle or the forest alone for however many days and nights. And they had to encounter danger. And in that, they learned that they provide their own safety. They learned that mum or dad is not going to come to rescue them anymore. They had to do that themselves. They had to rescue themselves. It's in that. It's in learning that you provide your own safety. That you don't seek the safety from other people. And if you don't seek the safety from other people, which is basically connection, you're free to be who you want. You're free to be your authentic self. But until you clear out the emotional wounds from your past that required you to need attention or need connection in order to feel safe, you'll forever give an inauthentic part of you out into the world. And so long as you're being inauthentic, you'll never be truly healthy and happy, because it's not a part of who you are. You're living a lie. You're putting yourself in a mental prison, in a mental cell. And all it requires for you to do is step out and just start being more real and accepting that it's going to feel like shit. But that's a part of your own hero's journey. Your own journey from being a boy to being a man is facing the emotional wounds that you've been hiding from the past. And you do that by speaking your truth more. You do that by stepping out into the world, carving out the sort of future you want, have the sort of relationships you want, start earning the sort of money that you want to be earning, make it on, be it online, whatever it is, it's going to bring up some emotions in you. That's why you're not stepping up yet. If you are stepping up and it's causing you to back down a lot, good on you, man. Even if you're not stepping up yet, it's fine. You're doing great. It's gonna happen. I still fall back down. And I'm doing way more than I was like a year ago. The shit that I'm doing now, it's a huge increase in stepping into fear and discomfort. Learning to ground my energy, to bring activation away from my head and into my body, embodiment tools. That's what's truly helped me more than anything. Because the stories up here will always tell me to not move forward, to retreat back to safety. But when I'm in my body, I don't have to listen to those stories so much. I can bring calm to areas in life that I've always felt uncalm in. And in that, my comfort zone expands. I can experience more of the world. I can do more. I can express myself more. I can feel better about myself on many levels. Now I still struggle and I still deal with overwhelm, my emotions can still get the better of me, but the overall shift in attitude and what I'm able to do in life and the experiences I'm able to have, I'm able to step towards this life that I've always known I'm capable of achieving, but I just couldn't because of the emotions. But the embodiment has allowed me to really step in that direction. It's a huge shift, guys.